Where was the Cowboys defense? Where is this Cowboys team that was holding the Panthers to 3 points, or the Patriots, or all these other teams? Oh, turns out the Cowboys are very similar to the Dolphins. They're frauds. That's what the Cowboys are, and that's what they've always been. And this is what we said previewing Super Wild Card Weekend. We said, I don't know, this Packers team, they don't know what they don't know. Jordan Love, been one of the best quarterbacks in the league the last several weeks. Aaron Jones.
8 weeks.
Aaron Jones he's back, he's fresh, he's ready to rock. And then all these receivers, you can't really game plan for because you don't know which one's going to succeed any given week. Whether it's Jaden Reed, the leader of the receivers in this wide receiver room. Maybe it's Christian Watson.
Romeo.
Maybe it's Tucker Kraft. Maybe it's Romeo. Dare art thou Romeo. Dobbs in this game, who had a fantastic game, 150 yards. Packers annihilate the Cowboys, the most embarrassing Cowboys loss in Cowboys history. And ultimately what it's become is the Cowboys having a really good regular season. They're 12-5 for the third year in a row. And for the third year in a row, they have embarrassed themselves in primetime. And now Mike McCarthy, who knows whether or not he's going to stay. I'd be very surprised if they kept him next year.
Yeah.
And now the Cowboys, yet again, looking at their team with all the talent, whether it's the Defensive Player of the Year, Deron Bland, or Micah Parsons, or all these other guys here. Maybe it's CeeDee Lamb, Offensive Player of the Year, or MVP candidate at one point, Dak Prescott, who, by the way, had as many passing yards in the first quarter as you and I did. Yeah. 1 for 4, 1 interception and 0 yards. That's your MVP, I guess. That's who the media picked as the MVP at one point during the season. So the Cowboys, back to the same old Cowboys, losing in the first round yet again to the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, losing yet again to the Green Bay Packers in the first round. And this game was awesome because of how predictable it was to predict the right outcome for this game. Not only because we said this was going to be the matchup a couple months ago coming into it, and that we were starting to get the feeling that the Green Bay Packers could upset them. But when we were talking about this game, I mentioned 3 things very specific to this game. One of them was Aaron Jones. I called him the Cowboy Killer. I'm wearing the Cowboy Killer hat. And I said, Aaron Jones is someone who goes to Jerry World and has been the Cowboys' nightmare player to deal with. He's been the player that's gone to Jerry World and ran all over them, lit them up. Even when they had Aaron Rodgers last year, the Cowboys were able to go there and get it, or the Packers were able to go to Jerry World and get it done versus the Cowboys. And then I mentioned the quarterback matchup. Everyone lost their mind. They're like, you think Jordan Love is Brady? I'm like, no, I never said he's Brady. However, I do think he's been playing better than Dak Prescott. I do think there's more pressure on Dak Prescott. So I think that Jordan Love is going to be the better player in this game because he can make more throws than Dak Prescott. And he has better receivers and a better offense at this point than Dak Prescott. And people are like, how could you say that the Packers have a better offense? Well, Mike McCarthy was outdated when he was fired around 10 years ago. And Matt LaFleur came in there and took over. I don't know if it's 10 years ago. It was around 6 years ago. But Matt LaFleur took over for Mike McCarthy because Mike McCarthy's offense was outdated. It was old. And the Cowboys offense looked outdated and old. And all year long with the Dallas Cowboys have been saying, what run game? Really? Deuce Vaughn, 6 foot, not 6'6", like 4'6" out of college this year. Like you're relying on Deuce Vaughn. Then Tony Pollard is someone I'm like, you can't just turn and give the ball to Tony Pollard and ice the game the same way you could do with Ezekiel Elliott. I'm like, look at all the big games that Dak Prescott does not have a 100-yard rusher. It does not turn out particularly well for Dak Prescott. And then all year long, we've been saying they don't have the best wide receiver room in the league because you don't know what you're going to get from Michael Gallup or Brandon Cooks on a given week here. And then Jake Ferguson is someone who disappeared in the Lions game. He had a pretty good catch in this game, but overall, he wasn't there for Dak when he needed them. And then CeeDee Lamb, what the hell was going on with CeeDee Lamb in this game? We have the game on. The Packers go up, and then there's a drive. The Packers score again, and then CeeDee Lamb is on the sideline being talked to by Mike McCarthy. And then Dak Prescott goes over there as well. I'm like, why is CeeDee Lamb in the sunken place right now? What's going on with CeeDee Lamb? And then the Packers ended up limiting his catches to, it was a dig route here. It was a slant route here, and they were getting them on the ground. And the last thing I said about this game, after we covered Jair Alexander, after we covered Jordan Love being better than Dak Prescott, after we covered the Packers having the better run game than the Dallas Cowboys, after we covered Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed, Tucker Kraft, Luke Musgrave, and Aaron Jones. We didn't even have the farm simulator in this game playing in A.J. Dillon. He was out with a neck injury. After we covered all of those pieces on offense being better than the Dallas Cowboys, you know what we forgot to mention? We forgot to mention Matt LaFleur over Mike McCarthy, and Mike McCarthy is a